Welcome to Swim Stories Unplugged, where we dive deep into the life's most inspiring tales. Today, I'm thrilled to share the story of Joy Suzuki, a remarkable 95-year young woman whose passion for swimming and zest for life has left me in awe. Her story, filled with laughter, fortitude, sparkle, and timeless wisdom, reminded me why I keep swimming through these stories. So grab your goggles, like, subscribe, and comment. Let's make a splash together and share the ripples of inspiration.
Joy, I am so happy that you said yes to being a part of Swim Stories Unplugged.
Oh, well, I'm honored.
The first thing I'm gonna ask you is you mentioned that you started swimming when you were in first grade in Rockaway Park and you loved it,
Yes.
right? What is your earliest memory of being in the water?
Oh, my memory. So it has to be some. Well, see, the summers, we were in the city here during the school year.
Okay.
And just during the summers, uh, my mother had two sisters, you see.
Okay.
And all three husbands, my father, had to work in the city. So the three sisters, each having one child each, would rent a house at Rockaway Park
Okay.
from the weekend school let out until Labor Day weekend. So that's where I spent my summers. But
Okay.
that was going to the beach. The house was a half a block from the boardwalk.
Okay.
But there, just a block or two down on the boardwalk, there was I think it was a hotel, anyway, a place with a pool with a swimming instructor.
Okay.
So my cousins, I had two cousins, one boy and one girl, each one different aunt, because
Right.
of the three.
Sure.
They were a couple of years older than I, so I was kind of a tag along. But they were allowed to go to that pool just once a week, and that was a treat because we had to spend every day at the beach. That's
Right.
what we were there for.
Sure.
And so I remember being taken there, and there was a swim instructor.
Mhm.
And see, the mothers, as I recall, never went. But how it was arranged that I could have lessons, I don't know. Maybe my cousin, who was only 2 years older, so I don't know that he would, make the rest. But
Sure.
anyway, I was allowed to take swimming lessons. That's
Wow.
how I learned from this. I remember as an old man. And what impressed me, that's the recollection, at the pool, now this is in the 1930s,
Okay.
right?
All right.
There was a large tank,
Okay.
and the swimming instructor who impressed me is an old man, meaning much older than my father. Maybe he wasn't that old.
Right.
But
Yeah.
still,
Sure.
from my memory, this old, large man, he would dive into the pool from that tank.
Wow.
And that just blew me off.
Right.
But he said he would teach me how to dive if I learned how to swim.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I first learned, how to swim. Now I don't know if it was the very first summer or not, but first he taught me how to dive from the first diving board.
Okay.
But by the time I was 10, so I don't recall in between, I
Okay.
was diving from the no, from the 10-foot board. I only jumped in.
Oh, okay.
Jumped in.
Okay.
From the two lower boards,
Mhm.
I was allowed to dive in, but I don't think it was that first summer.
Okay.
First summer, I just learned to stay afloat.
Right. In the water.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
But
Absolutely.
I look forward to going to the pool
Mhm.
once a week because every day we had to spend at the beach, at the ocean.
Okay.
And I know my mother rarely went in. She would sit under the umbrella knitting.
Mhm.
But in the beginning of the summer, what she would always do, the three sisters actually,
Sure.
the lifeguards at that time were college students
Okay.
whose job, I guess it must have been a city job, to
Mhm.
lifeguard at the Rockaway Park.
Sure.
We were on 117th Street. Uh, Lifeguard there. Well,
Yeah.
mother would ask the students what color their college colors were,
Sure.
and she would spend the summer knitting each lifeguard a sweater
Mhm.
of their college colors.
Oh wow, that's special.
But of course, the ocean had all kinds of memories. There would be, you know, when the whistles started blowing. People would be drowning. But
Right.
I think the lifeguard always watched us
Yeah.
because if we go too far out, he'd come in. It was like a little canoe.
Mhm.
Telling
Telling you to come away. Oh, that must be special because I feel like as children you are so like unaware, not unaware, but you're so much enjoying the water so much that you don't realize how far into the ocean you go
Oh,
when it is not
yeah,
safe,
but the
right?
lifeguards always kept an eye on us. I think.
Right. Yeah, I do see that when I go to the beach recently, that is so amazing
Yeah.
that they are always there to
Yeah,
watch
but
for you.
because you see, at that time,
Mhm.
weekdays the beaches were not crowded.
Oh, okay.
Weekends,
Weekends.
Saturday. But then I think Saturday and Sunday weekend, our parents. Oh, weekends our fathers came from
Oh,
the
okay.
city.
Okay.
You see,
Right.
so week weekends the fathers, the lifeguards have to watch the crowds. You wouldn't believe even then the
Yeah.
crowds of people that came weekends.
Okay.
But weekdays is practically empty. So the lifeguards watched us, my two kind of weekday. Weekends, I think it was the father because the lifeguards had the public to watch. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
and that's when there would be those whistles blowing that someone was half drowning or whatever.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, that sounds like such a great memory. And did you ever imagine when you were swimming just in the summers that you would come back to swimming decades later?
Oh no, no, never thought that far ahead. But my last summer was when I was age 10, you see.
Okay.
Because the day after my 11th birthday, this
Mhm.
was during the school year,
Sure.
uh, well, the business community
Mhm.
in New York City knew, now don't ask me how they knew, but knew
Okay.
that war would be imminent.
Okay.
So they started sending all their dependents home.
Oh.
Meaning to Japan. You see,
Right.
my father was working for a Japanese company, so
Sure.
my mother's a dependent,
Mhm.
and I'm, just part of that.
Right.
So my mother left New York City January of 41. You see, when Roosevelt was elected in 1940,
Mhm.
that's when the Japanese business community in New York City knew war would be imminent.
Right.
So they started sending the dependents home.
Mhm.
So all through the the winter and spring up to the summer of 41, the Japanese business community dependents were all returning to Japan.
Oh,
That
okay.
was the history of
That
that
was the
time.
history
You
of that
see,
time. Okay.
actually, my cousin, the one
Mhm.
family, they wanted to wait till she graduated 8th grade, which in June. So they didn't leave New York City till June, and they leisurely bought a new car and drove across the continent
Mhm.
to catch their ocean liner to go to Japan.
Okay.
By the time they were on the West Coast, now this is the end of the summer,
Right.
ocean liner was already canceled. You
Uh,
see, so people think of Pearl Harbor as if it was a totally unexpected shock.
sure.
Well, historically, that wasn't so.
Never.
I mean, there were envoys, ambassador discussing in Washington D.C.
Yes.
through the fall,
Mhm.
and there's the ultimatum in
Yeah.
November, etc., etc.
Sure.
But anyway, so my uh, aunt, uncle, and that they were stranded on the West Coast because their ocean liner was canceled, and then being stranded
Mhm.
when the war did break out,
Sure.
they ended up having to go to the concentration camp. I don't know, you've heard
Yes,
of the
I'm
Japanese. Oh,
heard of them.
the West Coast
Mhm.
Japanese Americans,
Mhm.
120,000 or more,
Sure.
most of them U.S. citizens,
Yeah.
were sent to the desert area, to the concentration camp.
Sure.
And barbed wire.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to our story for the water. Um, what did the water feel like to little Joy, and how was that feeling changed or stayed the same?
Oh, well, there's no comparison. My last, fun water experience is age 10.
Right.
After that, it's during already, you see, before December, it's already almost war mode.
Right.
Nothing recreational is being
Absolutely.
considered. So all through World War II, post-war, so that is from, for me, from January 41 until the mid-50s, I'm in Tokyo.
Right.
No, no experience with Water
Water.
City. It's not even thought of.
Okay.
Hardly. Well, after the war, there were brief visits to the, Hayama, different but no, that was just almost like a tourist.
Oh, okay.
No direct experience of being in the water.
In the water. So,
So,
did you miss water at that time?
Life was not that leisurely.
I can
I mean,
imagine.
during the war, we're
Right.
having, we're hot starving.
Oh,
They're
okay.
air raids. It's a
Wow.
matter of life and death. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I can imagine.
and then the last years, not only air raids, even the high school. Well, there were no men. I mean, only old men and young boys. Those
Okay.
who were able were out on the front.
Oh, I see.
I'm talking about in Tokyo.
In Tokyo, right? Yeah, during the
World
war.
War II.
Mhm.
And so when there were air raids, and then the school, the boys' school, all sports were canceled. They had what was called military training. I mean, no such thing as gym or something as leisurely as sports.
Right.
The girls too learned to march. I mean, it was a military
Military
kind of,
thing.
yes.
Oh, okay.
And so nothing recreational.
Okay.
And even I was in a private girls' high. The private girls' school I was from actually from kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, through post high school, all with the same private girls' school.
Okay.
But from high school, I did go to this again, private all girls college.
Sure.
But no. So while I was in high school, this is the latter years of the war, there was no more classes. We had to help with this quote war effort, and I remember we went to a factory to polish submarine lenses. So the last months of the war, we were polishing. I mean, whatever. Most of the factories were bombed out anyway.
Yeah.
But whatever was available, there were only girls. You know.
It was very different experience. I get
I don't think you can imagine.
No, I can't imagine
No.
because when I was thinking about talking to you, I was like, what can I ask, because you have had probably almost a century of experience
Right.
of living through
Right.
everything in life that I don't think we can even imagine.
No, so I have not had the experiences at all of, say, women my age, women who live here, who lived through their middle school, high school, college years in the States. Even if it was during the war, their experiences are totally different. I see movies here, and I think, oh my, you know, it is a world beyond my imagination. I mean, totally different world.
Yes, I'm sure.
And then my children or grandchildren probably experience, but it never occurred to me to ask. I just assumed they were college students, let's say,
Right,
or
yeah.
high school students. And as long as I don't get a report from school, I assume everything is fine.
Right,
And
yeah.
it never occurred to me what they may have been doing, what I see from the movies I see.
Yes.
But now Edwin is a grandfather, you see.
Right,
Now,
yeah.
I'm was his high school friend, and he came to visit. Like, should I ask, wonder, did my son behave the way I see college students behaving?
Right. Yeah, and
But-
that's always as a parent, once you're a parent, right? You're always a parent. You're always worrying
Right.
about
Yes,
what stage you are. It's I mean, I experienced that with my students. One of my first students, she would be going to high school next next year, I think.
Oh.
Like high school or college? Yeah, high school. I still stay in touch with a few families,
Right.
and she was telling me that what she has been doing and how she's grown, and it just brings you that happiness and joy of seeing them.
But
And
it's incredible. You don't
yeah.
realize because the people here tell me. Yeah, I say, no. I wonder if my son behaved the way. They said, don't ask. They say, you don't have to know now.
Right. Yes.
He's launched. He's done well. He's a grandfather. Why should I be questioning how he behaved?
Years. Yeah, absolutely. And you once said that swimming later in life gave you emotional freedom, freedom from early expectations. Can you describe what freedom meant to you or means to you?
I'm not so sure. But no, but being in the water, I, I'm totally. I don't think that I have to do this at such and such time. I have to, I don't. It's it's almost like a free form of meditation, not in the sense of a religious uh, feeling,
Sure.
but just a freedom that I don't have to be concerned of what's coming next. I don't mean in the long term. I'm talking about within the
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was just while I'm in the water, I can just enjoy swimming or floating or not be concerned about what's going on elsewhere.
Yes, and I've seen you swimming. It's really just watching you swim is just. I can tell that you are just there in the water to enjoy the water.
Yes, that's. I guess those are my moments when I am totally free of everything.
Yes.
just my only concern is I don't think. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, of course. Yes, and you were kind of a late bloomer in the pool, right? Because you started after a decade.
More than late. I mean, I don't know the word for it because. All right. So from age 10, I was not back into the pool until my youngest went to college.
Okay. So
All
how
right.
many decades was that?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, you see, I was in my 50s then,
Right.
and then Edwin was already involved with swimming. He was. He may have been out of college, but he was involved. And then he said to me, "Look, no, I haven't. You, see, I did give piano lessons regularly to students,
Okay.
but I didn't have a job that I'd have to, report it.
Yeah. Sure.
Time. So he said, "You're free. Why don't you start going?" He knew I could swim. It
Sure.
wasn't a matter of learning how. And he knew that I liked it. He said, "Why don't you go out and start swimming in the pool?" I said, "Why?"
Yeah.
And we used to go into the Y because I took all 3 of my children there for lessons
From when they were little. Yeah.
So, and then I was self-conscious about being seen in a bathing suit. That's
Right. Yeah. Of course.
He said to me, "Mom, how many people do you think are going to line up to look at you?" and that kind of put me in place,
Right. Yeah.
That, and then, but still, the first time when I walked in, not that I expected, but I was wondering, would people look at me? No one.
No one. Yeah.
And I'd have to almost confess it was almost a disappointment.
Oh.
Nobody. And there were men, women, different ages, children, not a soul.
Right.
Paid 1 bit.
Right.
Not even a glance.
Right.
And then I realized, look, how much of a nobody.
Yeah.
Of course, really.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't realize the reality.
Yes.
But the reality was nobody cares
Yes.
who the other person looks in a bathing suit,
Yes.
as a why. I mean, maybe for certain events, but I'm talking about regular, swimming.
Right. Yeah. And I apologize for even saying late because I don't think there is any late go in the water because I also started in my early 40s last year. So I am sorry I said
See, my swimming as a child is totally different, so that doesn't compare as when I went back to the pool in my 50s.
Right.
But I mentioned in my memoir, but it was, I didn't go to meets right away, you know. I guess it was probably 10 years or so.
10 years later?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't recall. I guess if I looked it up.
Sure.
But then I must have been maybe late 60s or early 70s when there was a lady and the dive. I was still, at that time, I was diving off the board to start. You know.
Right, yes, of course.
And the swimmer, the woman about my age, she looked at me and she said, "Isn't it wonderful to be able to compete without parental pressure?" And that's when we were in our 70s. And you know, that really, you see, in Japan there's always pressure.
Pressure, yes.
You're always representing your, not just your immediate family, this is family, ancestors, 300 years back, you know.
Of course,
and
of course.
You cannot shame them.
Yes, yes.
So the idea that there's no pressure, because, you know, my swimming in a meet in my 70s, absolutely no pressure from anybody at all.
I can imagine because you must be even when you're in your 70s, there must be very few people your age even competing.
But friends, you know, there's no one that makes me think that it would be disgraceful if I didn't do well.
Yeah.
Nobody could care. And my children, I don't know if they knew, you know, it didn't matter to anybody
Absolutely.
how I did. Well, if I really drowned, that, you know, but I'm not talking about that. You know.
Of course.
So it was total freedom.
That's so joyful to hear that to have that freedom in your 60s and 70s.
Well, it's too bad you have to wait that long, though.
That's true. Yeah, I can imagine. Do you remember at any time that you felt any moment that you felt you belong here, or that moment of when you're competing, did you ever feel that I don't belong here at all when you were competing in the Masters?
Oh, no. I never thought much, you know, had any deep thought. You see, all my life I've been marginal, and I've been aware that I was marginal. See, in the 30s, as a Japanese child in New York City, there aren't Asians around.
Yes.
It's totally marginal. I was aware, and my mother made sure that made me feel that I represented Japan, that I couldn't do anything, you know, that wasn't absolutely proper.
Yes.
And then when I went to Japan, I'm still an outsider because I was born and been schooled in the West, in New York City. So the total environment was totally different.
Sure.
So I'm an outside. So all my life I've never been mainstream. I've always been marginal. So I think I don't think in small terms of being belonging or not, because life itself has been very much trying to be an insider while being an outsider.
Yes.
And trying to see, because at a very early age I learned that the same thing in one interpretation is right and another interpretation is wrong. You know, that I shouldn't use the word life, but that life is relative. You learn that at a very early age.
Sure.
If your home is from one culture and your outside world is another culture. You see, always I've been living two cultures at the same time.
Yes.
So life has always been like, even, you know, when I was 19, when the Chinese-Japan War broke out, of course, Japan was considered the bad guy. I was in New York City at the time.
Sure.
So outside, I would hear all those terrible things about Japan.
Japan, yeah.
At home, my parents, being Japanese, they have a different perception.
Sure.
And at that age, I've been told what I did so many times. I vaguely remember, but there was a park across the street from where we lived, and there were park benches.
Okay.
I stood up on the park bench to give a speech to the people that Japan isn't all that bad.
Wow.
You see,
Yes.
that's almost sad that a child felt
You
the
have
need to do
do-
that.
Yeah.
But my older cousin, walking by, wondered what was that crowd. There was a crowd of people, and he saw me in the middle, standing on the bench, trying to tell all the people that
Yeah.
Japan's up. And he was so embarrassed, he pulled me off and dragged me home.
Oh.
And I've been told that so many times.
Right.
But you see, as a young child, pressure, different kind of pressures.
Sure, absolutely. And like, when especially when you are living in two different cultures, like, your whole life, like I've experienced that very little because I've been only in this country only 17 years. So and I came in after that I got married. So like comparing my little life to 17 years and then imagining how almost your whole life you have been living that. How did that, like, has that ever felt any kind of feeling um, like I am here, but I am also this. Like, as a woman or a girl, like, standing up on the park bench, like,
Well, that's
just
as a child, you see,
Right, yeah,
without
as a
thinking.
child.
As an adult, as a young, when you're thinking, you accept the environment. You don't try to
Yeah.
correct or try to. You see, you learn to, in a sense, go with the flow.
Yes.
You see, so as a behavior-wise, uh, you are always trying to be proper in that environment.
Okay.
Well, like in Japan, they say everyone has three faces.
Okay.
One face for the public, that is always proper,
Yes.
should be proper.
Yes.
One face for family and close friends, that that you know, and then one face that only you know,
Yes.
only you. Now, maybe at times you may choose to share that face with someone, your spouse. So you may or you may not.
Yes.
But that inner, that only you know, doesn't mean it's such a noble, presentable.
Yes.
But but I get the impression too the Westerners would think that as being a phony.
Yes.
You see, you're not being your honest self all the time. You're presenting something
Something
sort of,
different.
yes,
Yes.
that's acceptable and proper. But with family and friends, you let go, and then with yourself, whatever. You see, it's a difference in perception. In Japan, that is what you should be. That is the proper, the correct way.
Okay.
You see,
Right. Yeah. Cultural.
had I lived here, why are you trying to be such a phony? Why can't you be yourself all the time?
Yeah.
You see,
Yes.
totally different perception. It's not which is right
Yeah. That's.
or wrong,
Yeah.
good or bad. It's just different. But when you're having to balance both,
Both. Yeah.
you learn.
You learn. Yes. Absolutely. And like recently when you won in your age group 95 to 99, you
There's no
won.
one else in my age group competing. That's fine.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. And like I've had a moment to swim with you in backstroke at the Y last 2 years in May, last May and this May. So and what is it that keeps you at this age coming back to water and wanting to compete or
Well, no, I enjoy being in the water.
yes.
And because, especially in my old age, I am not balanced on land. I can't really walk without
Sure.
a walker.
Of
see?
course, yes.
So that's where I feel I'm mobile.
In the water.
In the water. That's
Oh,
the
wow.
only place. You see. And then I will have to admit it's become an ego boost
Right.
because the people are so encouraging and wonderful. You see, when I first in my oh, when there wasn't really a competition, when I was old, and I knew there was no one my age. You see, I thought that like I'm so slow, but the next heat can't start till I get there, which means it slows down the whole event. Because I'm slow, everybody has to wait, and I thought people will think, why does she have to keep doing that? Why doesn't she? I imagine people's attitude would be, why doesn't that old lady stay home? She slows up the whole process. Because,
Right.
but it wasn't like that. Much to my surprise and, well, I would say pleasure, people cheered me. They
Yes.
encouraged me, and they would say things like, "I wish my mother or my grandmother would do the same." They made me feel good,
Yes.
and it's become an ego boost.
Oh, that is really amazing because I remember this May, last year was the first time, I ever competed in my life, right? And this May, when I saw you competing and doing the backstroke, the last time I was swimming with you, and I did not know, and my coaches said, "Oh, you'll be swimming with Ed Suzuki's mom, Joy. She's 94." I'm like, uh, that makes me feel I am so slow. My coach goes, no, you imagine you have the privilege and honor to be able to swim with that person. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a nice way to look at it. And then I had my husband he actually recorded both of us swimming.
Oh.
And then this May, when I you were swimming the backstroke, you should see the whole stand was on their stands and giving you a standing ovation. I was feeling those chills, and I'm like, oh my God! Just imagine being that person in the water, swimming and having the whole the whole
I didn't
crowd
see it, but I
Right.
heard.
Yes.
I could hear it.
Yes,
and
I'm
people
sure.
told me, and I'm so great. To me, well, it's an ego boost. It makes
Yes.
me feel so. I don't get that anyplace else, and I thought I
Yes.
wouldn't expect it anyplace else.
Yes, yes.
But I'm grateful. No one. I would think some might think, why doesn't she stay home? She's old and slow. Why does she have to keep showing up? I can imagine something,
Right.
but no one has ever let me see, let me experience that.
No, and
If they don't say anything, they'll smile.
Yes.
Everybody has made me feel like it's okay.
Yes,
Even if you're old,
absolutely.
it's okay, and we're not going to turn you away.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
And-
We will not.
And I'm grateful.
Yes.
It's really a very special feeling.
Yes, that is definitely amazing. Like, like I want to ask, have you, the Y that you swam at, that's a short course pool, right? Have you ever swum in a long course meter pool?
I think I did.
You did. Where was that?
That was, see, I do the backstroke now because I can no longer coordinate my breathing with it. I used to swim with it, but I can't coordinate.
Sure,
But
sure.
the
I understand.
breathing,
Is easy,
So
sure.
it was when I swam the 50 free,
50 free.
that,
Okay.
the long course.
In the
but
long
never the long course with the back.
Okay, with the backstroke.
The backstroke is since I cannot do the free anymore. And then first I was doing the both arms came up, but
Yes.
then in the last few years the doctors said, well, both my shoulders were replaced.
Sure.
A few years that the muscles are no longer connected to the rotator cuff. That's one arm.
Okay.
So
Right.
this arm doesn't come up. You
Come
see,
up,
this
right.
comes up.
Right.
This doesn't because
Doesn't
it's
come
not connected. I
connected,
mean, if
I
I
see.
push it.
Push it. Yeah, you
So
can.
when I swim, this comes. This so it's like a chipmunk stroke.
Right. Oh yeah.
So so that's the only thing I can do.
Can do. Right. Yeah.
The back.
And it is amazing. Even with your age and if the rotator cuff not being there, I can see that you are so happy and full of pride when you're in the water. So that's really amazing witness.
Well,
And
with all the cheering,
Yes.
and then smiles and everything,
Yes.
in the words I get, it makes me feel like I'm somebody.
yes, you are, and you are
But
such an
otherwise, you know, a
inspiration.
95, I don't have, most of the people here are PhDs. And, you see, I don't have
Yes.
that. In fact, when I first came, I forgot where some, I think it was a staff person, said to me, "So, what did you get your PhD in?"
Oh,
They assume you
they
have.
assume
And I said, "Well, I'm uneducated." You know?
Oh no, you're not
But
uneducated.
you know, uh, so I'm among people who have these credentials. You know,
Right.
I respect. You know, well, Japan respected.
Yes, absolutely.
I really respect, but I realize I'm a nothing.
No,
But
you,
just
yeah.
only because of my age at that too, not an accomplishment, but just
Right.
because of my age,
Yes.
I I can experience that you know that encouragement and cheer from the others, and I really appreciate that.
Yes, of course. And you, do you feel like it's a release when you swim in the water at all, like emotionally or so, and mentally?
Well, I feel a total release of everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's emotional, but I don't really philosophize about it. You know. It's
Okay.
you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that much of a deep thinker.
Okay, got it. Sounds good. So I will ask you, a few questions, a couple of questions, I had in mind as we were talking. Is you started in your 50s, 60s, right? And
You mean swimming at meet?
Swimming.
Meets must have been 60s.
Yeah.
60s or older. Yeah.
Yeah, not just meets, just swimming as a as a middle age.
The 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today 50s is middle age, but at my time we used to say, in Japan anyway, life was 50 years. I mean,
Life expectancy?
practically.
Right.
Right. Of
Right.
course, today
It's
there are 100-year-olds just everywhere.
yes.
In Japan. Yeah. But there used to be an expression, life, if you live beyond 50, it's like an extension to expected life.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
not today.
Not today, of
100.
course. Yes. There are so many other women or even men who are starting at a later age. I know a few people who started in their 30s or 40s or even 50s. So, what would you tell them if there are anybody who is listening is on the fence of whether I should start swimming or even in their 70s? Should I start swimming or not? What would you tell them?
It depends, because I have spoken to people who are afraid of the water.
Mm-hmm.
See, so if you have a fear, for whatever reason,
Mhm.
fear of the water, I wouldn't. There's no point in trying to pressure. No
Mhm.
point in pressuring somebody. Don't
Sure.
be afraid.
Yes.
But if you felt that you would like to
Mhm.
be in the water,
Yes.
for those who always wanted to be in the water, then at whatever age, you will find that if you have pain,
Mhm.
really arthritis, you have an experience, they go away.
Mhm.
See, without gravity,
Mm-hmm.
it's like being in space. So anyone who has arthritis pain, really, bathtub isn't big enough.
Right.
It has to be a bigger, once in the water, you have no pain.
Mm.
The pains go away. So then you have that physical freedom of being pain-free.
Right.
See, and with no fear. Now, don't forget, if you're going in the water being afraid, forget it. There are other things you can enjoy. You don't
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
fight fear.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if it's something you want to do,
Mhm.
and you happen to have arthritic pain, you won't have the pains. You will be free,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can learn to swim. And if you don't feel like learning to swim, you can just be moving around.
Mhm.
I just, aside from floating,
Mm-hmm.
you can just move around and do whatever the exercises you're told to do on land, which I don't have the balance to do.
Sure. Sure.
In the water, I can pretend I'm a ballet dancer
I love that ballet dance. Did you ballet dance at all?
as a child.
You did?
Oh, well,
That's
I would
amazing.
know. We used to call, not in Japan, this is all
in the U.S. Sure.
toe dancing. I had acrobatic lessons and toe dancing lessons.
Mm.
And even at that time, nobody hears about that. Elocution lessons. You see, there used to be, these are private lessons.
Mhm.
My mother was aware that the Japanese pronunciation of English was very poor.
Mm.
and she didn't want her child to experience, poor pronunciation.
Sure.
So I was sent to elocution lessons
Yes.
and toe dancing
Mhm.
and tap dancing and acrobatic. I had all those lessons besides piano lessons.
Oh, okay. Do you still play the piano?
No.
No. Okay.
But I taught young beginners for 30 or more years.
Oh.
I had 30 or more students at a time.
Wow. That really does sound amazing.
But I was not teaching for them to become musicians.
Sure.
If I suspected or was aware of natural talent, I would encourage to go to a professional
Mhm.
piano teacher and then on to, like my daughter, on Juilliard Free College. You see, no, my focus more for not only the child but the family to know that it's anything a form of discipline, that daily practice. So I never gave lessons to a child unless one parent agreed to sit through the lesson.
Ah.
The parent must sit through the entire lesson, every lesson, otherwise I wouldn't take the child as a student. But that was at a time when mothers weren't, today they're all working parents.
Sure. Sure.
They weren't working.
Mhm.
And of course, though, I gave lessons weekends when the one parent could be free. But I take a student from 3 or 4 year old. If the parents, you see, like a 3-year-old, you can't expect that child, well,
Yes.
to sit for 30 minutes and
Of course.
practice.
Of course.
10 minutes maximum.
Mhm.
So you get the child what 5 to 10 minutes every hour.
Yes.
Then they get 30 minutes of practice and they really learn.
Yes.
Not sitting 30
minutes.
you see.
Yeah.
So the whole idea, I wanted every child, every family to know if you practice daily, regularly,
Mhm.
you learn and you can do well.
Yes.
And my students did well at the uh, local level competitions, you see. But they were not,
that's nice.
most of them there today,
Yeah.
they're scientists, doctors,
Right. Yeah.
and that's what I would have expected.
Right.
Not to become musician is something else.
Yes.
You have to have not only, so much is involved.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna ask you. You've been the national champion in your age group, and you won
Not
medals.
national, state.
State?
State.
Oh, okay. So you won in the state. My bad. So in the state, when you have won those medals for your age group, how does that make you feel?
Oh, well, I feel good.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
Yes.
But I'm fully aware it's no one else in my age group.
Mhm.
And I also realize, because people who live here tell me, it's not the swimming in the pool. That's not a problem.
Mhm.
People can do that.
Yes.
It's just, it's the having to bother to get dressed and undressed at my
Yes.
age.
Yes.
That's the effort.
Ah, I
You
see.
see.
Okay. It on. Yes. No, I
And
understand.
every time, because
Yes.
you can't just go to a meet.
Yes.
You have to swim daily.
Yes.
So every day you have to struggle into.
Yes.
That's what keeps old people away. It's
Mm.
not the swimming in the pool. They could easily do that.
Right. I
All
see.
right.
Okay.
If there was some scientific way where by magic you can get into a tight fitting suit.
Swimsuit. But you swim every day, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I struggle into my
But-
suit every day.
Yes,
That's
I'm
my
sure.
effort.
Yes.
The effort is not in the water.
In the water,
The
right.
effort is the in and out.
In and out,
And
right.
then it depends on the person, of course.
Yes.
But I was trained that when you face the public, you always, you know, you don't go out,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Well, every time you're in the water, you have to do it all over again.
All over again. Yes, of course. Yes.
That's the effort.
That's the effort. I can imagine.
If you stop to think about it,
Yes.
why do not 90-plus-year-old women
Mhm.
swim in the pool at a meet?
Mhm.
Well, it's because of
Because of the
the
getting in
effort
and out.
of getting in and out.
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you, has there been any particular meet that has been your fondest memory?
No, there's one that's the opposite.
Oh, okay, tell me.
Well, somehow I think it's been written up. I think, but anyway, I got untangled, and I was having trouble. I was really struggling.
Mhm.
But then, well, Edwin, so they wanted me to stop,
Mhm.
because it was obvious I was half drowning.
Oh,
But I
okay.
refused to stop. That
Right.
was my stubbornness and my ego, my
Right.
other ego.
Yes.
I would not let them see if they started to help me. I'm disqualified.
Right.
I would, I'm struggling,
Yes.
half drowning,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't let them in the lifeguard. So Edwin kept the lifeguard away.
Mhm.
You know. So I did. Never mind the time. I
Mhm.
did get to the end. But afterwards, my daughter,
Mhm.
she said, she said that was so selfish of me. Oh, then I guess I was asked, why didn't you accept help? And I said something like, I didn't want to shame my ancestors or something like that.
Yeah.
But my daughter said, it's so selfish of me that if the lifeguard couldn't help, if if I really drown, you know who gets in trouble? The lifeguard.
Mhm.
She had me apologize to the lifeguard that
Oh.
I put them in a difficult position because
Sure.
of my stubbornness
Yeah.
and my ego of
Mhm.
insisting
Mhm.
to keep on
Right.
when I should have given up,
Mhm.
graciously accepted disqualification, but I wouldn't do that. And
Right.
I promised my daughter I'd never do that again. She said it was so selfish
Mhm.
of me to put on that spectacle
Yeah.
and the people concerned,
Mhm.
wondering, am I going to make it or not?
Right,
Having
right.
everybody concerned and the lifeguard wanting to, but
Right.
not allowed to do his job.
Right.
And she said I owed everybody apology, but
Right.
I couldn't go around apologizing.
No,
to
of course I
anybody.
understand,
But
and
I apologized to the lifeguard.
lifeguard. So what I'm looking at is that
So
even
don't talk about that.
No, no, no. I'm actually thinking it in the other way, right? I feel like you persisted, no matter what challenges you
I
felt
did,
through,
but
because
that was making other people suffer being uncomfortable.
right.
And Edwin was really worried that I was
Yes,
drowning.
I can imagine, the
Everybody
worry. Yeah.
was worried. I didn't know how I looked. See, I
Yes.
wasn't thinking of how I was looking.
Yes.
I was just thinking, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. That's
Right.
all I'm thinking.
Yes.
But I was apparently a spectacle.
Right. Okay. I'm thinking from your point of view, right? You persisted. You're like challenging yourself. No, I don't want to drown.
That's a Japanese spirit.
Yes.
But that's not very acceptable here.
I can. I like.
And that's what they say.
Yes.
Never give up.
Never
Never give up.
Yes.
You see, committing suicide in honor is acceptable in Japan. Living in shame is not acceptable. You
I see, right.
You're better off dying honorably
Mhm.
than to keep living
In
in
shame.
shame. You see,
Right. Yeah.
you see, it's almost the reverse.
It's a reverse, yeah, and it's about balance, still balancing those cultures,
The
but at
balance
the
is
same time,
difficult.
balance. I'm sure it's difficult because, balancing those, and also at the same time making sure that you are staying true to yourself, and
So
and
something has to
persisting.
give.
Yeah, something has.
So
There's always a
it should
give and
be
take.
me that gives. I shouldn't make the other party give. Right? So my daughter said, forget forget about ancestors and
Right. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Mhm.
She said, I put other people in a very uncomfortable situation,
Sure.
and I guess some people were. I didn't realize, but some people were really scared.
Yes, I can imagine that. If I would be there, can you tell me what age was that?
Maybe I was already. I must have been 90.
90?
I think.
Okay, in your 90s.
Edwin
Okay.
remembers for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. But even being in the water and when you're floating, you always remember who you are and your freeness and of always. So that is what I'm going to.
Well, you could. It was written someplace. It's not really secret or anything.
Yeah, of course.
But I think at the next meet, though,
Mhm.
Edwin had a good swimmer, a man,
Mhm.
See, I always swim in the end lane.
Yes.
So the next lane is free.
Yes.
He had, a friend who's a
Mhm.
good swimmer
Mhm.
swim next to me just in case.
Oh,
But that was not needed.
that was not needed.
But
Yeah,
he
but he
had
was
this,
cautious.
yeah,
That
but
is
he
smart.
had this a good swimmer swim next to me until I got to the end.
Yes, I can. I
I've
think.
never done that again.
Okay,
And that was the
that
only
was the
time.
only time. And then maybe you felt confident to finish through all this.
Afterwards,
Yeah.
well,
And
uh,
if it was when
no,
you were in your 90s,
no.
that's like 3, 4
I
years.
think what it was to begin with, my
Mhm.
attitude
Mhm.
to begin with was I've got to do well.
Mhm.
But then from that experience, I learned it doesn't make any difference. So now,
Mhm.
after that, of course, I don't deliberately do badly. Not
Yes.
I
Of
want
course.
to do, but I'm in a word outgrown or
Mhm.
maybe out matured
Mhm.
that competitiveness that I have to show that I can do well.
Yes.
That it's okay.
It's okay.
I'll do what I can do,
Mhm.
and that's good enough. I think that experience matured me enough to accept reality,
Yes.
not pretend I can do better than I can.
You can. Yeah, of course. And that's a great lesson. I think I'm gonna
Oh,
stop our conversation.
that is a
Yeah.
great. I didn't stop to think about it,
Yes.
afterwards. In fact, I didn't want to think about it at all.
Yes.
But now that you've, questioned me,
Mhm.
I think I did learn that, and
Mhm.
I matured. So at any age, a person can mature more.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
think I was mature enough at 90, right?
Yeah.
But, but I matured one step further.
Further,
That
yeah.
uh, that to accept the way it is. That I don't have to prove beyond.
Beyond your capability. I love that, and I'm gonna say I'm so grateful that you took the time to share not just your swim story, but also your life story with me. And I'm so glad I got this opportunity to meet you in person again in this
Well, I'll probably
conversation.
meet you again.
Yes.
You'll be swimming in December.
Yes, I will be.
Well, I always say if I'm still alive.
Yes, of
I'm
course.
ready to go anytime. So
Yes.
that's fine too.
Yes.
But if I'm
Yes, you're
I don't
swimming
know.
in December. I actually look forward to that.
I'll of course recognize you then.
Yes.
I can't say I know you today. But,
Yes, of course. And that happens, because I know we've only met like a couple of times, and when we swam, and like last year and this May, I have pictures from both the years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, maybe if I see you in a bathing suit. You see, some people
Yes.
I just see in a bathing suit.
And you remember that, and I get that because I would too. Sometimes, there are so many people at the meet. But I'm sure, now that we recognize, I'll be honored to be when you recognize me. So that's
Wow, what a journey that was. Joy Suzuki's incredible swim story, brimming with joy, sass, heart, and life lessons, has truly recharged my spirit to keep sharing these tales. I hope it's inspired you to keep swimming through life's waves too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Let's keep the current flowing and share how this story moved you. Until next time, this is your show host, Hetal Sampat. Let's keep making waves.